You were talking, thank you, first of all, for the things that you are doing for the city. I do appreciate that. And, listen, one of the concerns that I have sometimes with your votes is that they seem to predominantly benefit narrow special interests. And I can give some examples, but when you talked about one, you were talking 1B, right? HB 1B versus HB 1, which has to do with free speech and peaceful protest, right?
Right.
You were talking about 1B.
Yes, HB1 is 1B, exactly.
Correct.
It's from the special session
Right.
versus protest was from the regular session.
Yeah, right. So with the affordable housing, but technically there's a 50% cut to the Sadowski. You maybe can make sure that all that 50% gets to affordable housing, but ultimately it's a 50% cut. So it's a little confusing to say that that's necessarily great. HB 57 overturning 3 Key West resolutions, which gave Key West the ability to protect their coral reefs, which are their economic driver. When you say Florida knows Florida, what you should also say is the cities know the cities. So we're not getting that trickle down from some of these votes. And that's a little concerning to me. HB 9119 eliminates municipalities' ability to move toward clean energy in residential and commercial building. Again, we aren't able to make certain decisions for ourselves, and that's a little concerning to me. HB 1, criminalizing, exercising free speech through peaceful protest. That's concerning. HB 337, limiting impact fees imposed on developers, which would pay for new growth and for infrastructure. That's going to be a big problem for our city because we're already experiencing negative revenue from some of the larger developments coming in. So if we can't get to some of those impact fees, we're going to have an excess burden on the taxpayers. And I spoke to Mr. Gretzis about this before Mr. Moore, and Mr. Moore has spoken about this, and I think, Ryan, you spoke about this. This could be problematic for us. HB 421, which undermines the protection for conservation lands and waterways, concerning. HB 1409, which restricts local government's ability to pass measures to address gun violence, again, concerning because you'd like to have some discretion in your own city. HB 15 on its face seems great because you're expanding the collection of online sales tax, right? But then when you see what it's going to be used for, not going to help the taxpayers. Helps really big businesses. HB 7 makes it harder for people harmed due to negligence and bring lawsuits related to COVID, so maybe not good for the residents. HB 259, guns in churches, I won't even comment, but seems concerning. HB 233 requires Florida public universities to survey students and faculty members for their political beliefs annually. That is bizarre. HB 945 restricts local government's ability to enact policies to protect residents. That concerns me again. And I can keep going and going, but I'm going to give you what I see as the 3 worst, and we discussed this last time you came. HB 704, unnecessary barriers for voters. I don't like it one bit. HB 7013. Okay, this one is really upsetting. Prevents private tech platforms from moderating their sites for hate speech, disinformation, foreign extremists, and harmful internet trolls. I can't see why you would think it's okay to prevent private tech firms, platforms from moderating. And the last one, which is mind-blowing to me, no offense, is HB 1601. And some people call it the big sugar pollution bill because it prevents class action lawsuits against farmers, including Big Sugar, and it's designed to provide legal protections for polluting. And I think a lot of people know Big Sugar is a $3.2 billion industry, and there are areas around Lake Okeechobee, predominantly African American and poor people live, and they have ash raining down on their houses for approximately 6 months out of the year. Toxic ash. Now, Christmas Eve, toxic white ash raining down on your house, maybe okay. 6 months out of the year, it seems problematic. And especially in light of the fact that there are green harvesting mechanisms that could prevent the problem of the ash, which is a result of the sugarcane burning. But it's a $3.2 billion industry, and it is, I've read, sugar industry is the largest contributor to Florida elections. And so I'm just concerned because I think some of the things that you're voting on, and those are all your votes, you voted yes to all those items, concern me because the pattern doesn't seem to be pro-people. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming and presenting today. Very instructive presentation. Hi, Commissioner Casale. I don't even like to look at all of the bills that go through the House, and I think that I'm going to be a little bit more active this year in trying to have more local voices tune in to what's going on at the state level, because while we don't always get to hear it from the news, if you don't tune in, you don't know what's going on. I think we know what's going on at the national level, definitely at the city level, but when it comes to the state, you might get a quote-unquote free ride because people don't tune into it. I thank you for all of your efforts in the past. I certainly thank you for your vote that tabled short-term rentals. I don't know if that's going to come back, and I hope you hold fast to that, because that's going to be a big impact on the city, as it already has been. And I don't even think we have a full grasp of how much the short-term rentals impact our economy. Those who are under the table, operating their homes, not registered, that's got nothing to do with you, but I appreciate your standing firm on trying to put a handle or get a grip on them. I wish they would just loosen the reins at the state level and allow the locals to do a little better job of, as you said, the federals, the national, don't know Florida. I think the legislature does not know our individual communities. We are the ones who can do it. And with that said, you've given me an opportunity to talk about the Local Voices United. It's going to be a campaign. I'm hoping that the local citizens are going to join in, and don't be surprised if you get some telephone calls, more than you ever have before, because I intend to make sure that they're aware of every vote that's going to come up, and not just you, but all of the representatives. So I thank you for all of that. I also thank you for sharing the League of Cities legislative
Agenda.
meeting session, wherein you patiently listen to all of our thoughts and our supports. And commissioners, and I think city manager, and maybe even the city attorney, have a copy of this in your packet.
Yes, ma'am.
I would encourage each of us to be aware of what's going on and what our votes are as far as the league goes. So I thank you very much, and thank you for listening to us.
Madam Vice Mayor, if I may, that's the piece titled Priorities and Issues. Yes?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am, I had an
I
opportunity
didn't
to
read
review it, and you
it.
provided copies to all of
Yes.
us, I believe.
yes. Legislative priorities and issues, and you have a copy of this, I'm sure.
Yes, ma'am, we
Right,
discussed
thank you, and thank you
that
for
at
the
delegation.
outreach for our Pompey Park initiative. It's going to be a renovation. It's going to be a beautiful building, and I'm hoping you'll be there when we cut the ribbon for it.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Back to Pompey Park, I was just going to ask, are we talking about a renovation or being a part of the new build?
Mayor, great question. What we planned for Pompey Park in this appropriation is to purchase equipment and things that can be utilized again, to make these changes now, and then when you rebuild, to store this heavy equipment, kitchen equipment, off-site, and to use whatever we can over again in the new space.
And that hasn't been approved yet, right? That'll be something that you're bringing to try to get approved.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And do you have a list of things that have been approved in the city since you've been in here for 4 years?
I don't have anything. I don't have it with me.
I'd love to see that. I'd love to see what you're bringing to our city, because that's really the important thing, bottom line, as far as I'm concerned. for our representatives. It's not the ask, it's the get.
It's a get.
Absolutely.
That's all that matters.
So we can ask for anything.
That's
and,
right.
and unfortunately not get it. So if you have anything that we have received in the city of Delray Beach in the last 4 years since you've been serving, I'd love to know about it.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll get some of these things that are on this list, but, you know, I don't, I mean, we'll see what happens, but I
I'm sure
appreciate.
working with Senator Berman and Matt Forrest at Ballard, we should be fairly successful at getting most of these things.
Sounds good. Hopefully, we'll be seeing that. And I have to tell you, I mean, to my colleagues and myself, I think that, you know, home rule is probably one of the most important things that we have here on this local level. And just as you expressed that the federal government doesn't know Florida as well as the state government does, I think it rolls right down to the local level of government as well. And I feel like, you know, in Tallahassee, we're seeing less and less of that, and it's something that's very concerning from my perspective, because I'm not going to be here forever. And but the fact that when we have things that are affecting us that are going to go out further, that are being stripped away, it frustrates the local constituency, because they think that the local level of government is making these decisions when we're not. We're just it's out of control. So I don't know what you can do in taking that message back to Tallahassee, but maybe some local level governing, you know, people need to get up there in order to be able to make people understand that, you know, that needs to be something that's protected. Things happening on a local level should be decided locally by our constituents and by their decisions as to who they have in these positions.
Well, I got to agree with you, Mayor. I think that no one knows Delray Beach as well as Delray Beach, and certainly the state doesn't. So, you know, I'm a proponent of home rule, and I know that there's been a lot of preemption bills going through under this governor and the leadership in the Florida House and the Senate. And with regards to the concerns you had, Commissioner Casale, I'd love to, you know, I have an open door policy. I'd love to get together with you and go over my position on some of the bills that you mentioned.
I would appreciate that.
And I've got a very open door, my cell phone number, and I make it public to everybody. It's 561-702-9319, and it's my only phone. So please give me a call.
We'll talk. I look forward to
Okay,
it.
good, me too.
right.
Any of the commissioners, anybody here? Thank
you.
you. And
Thank
thank
you
you
for
for the
your
opportunity to come before you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for your service.
Okay, thank you.
Got it.